Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I am joined by regular co-host, Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben. Nice to be back. How you been?
Hello there. Welcome back. Glad to have you back. And today we are joined by a very, very special guest, Sarah of Horror. She's a filmmaker, YouTuber, podcaster. Welcome to the show, Sarah. Hello.
Thank you so much, and hello.
Hello. If you tuned in to our Fright Fest episode, right at the end, we met Sarah. We spoke to her. We chatted about
the
the
mean
festival.
streets of London.
Yeah, you were sitting like in the row right in front of me.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like I think we interacted on Instagram a couple of times. Yeah, and I just turned around at one point and you were there. I guess I was just in my own bubble for like majority of the festival.
Yeah, I know how it is. Yeah.
Do you ever get that though when you meet people that you've only ever interacted with online? 90% of the time, absolutely lovely, wonderful to meet them in real life. But then the other 10% of the time, you're worried that you're going to go, oh yeah, it's me, Ben. We spoke on this thing. It's probably spoken more than I've spoken to my parents in the last year. It's like, who? No, I'm sorry, I don't recognize you at all.
Don't remember you. Or you know like so many details about somebody's life, and they're like, God, stalker, Jesus.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it's just that you posted about it. Oh, so how was the salad you had yesterday? Really good. It seemed to be really. No, you've taken it too far.
But you had a good time at Fright Fest, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was amazing, actually. I'm so glad that was my first time at Fright Fest, and yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, our first time at Fright Fest as well.
Our first time live. I'm pretty jealous actually that they're doing. It's one of many events. Maybe we'll cover this in the news a little bit, but there are several like horror film festival or film screening events happening, as you would expect in the coming weeks as we run up to Halloween. But they've got like a little 2-day like mini version for Halloween going on, right?
Yep, yeah. I've got that down for the news. Fright Fest Halloween coming up.
Segue right into it, Ben. What's screening? What's on?
Segue right into it. You can't put that kind of pressure on me. Jesus.
So
yeah, so I mean Fright Fest Halloween this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know if there's as many films as like on the sort of main fest sort of day to day, but one of the films is The Last Video Store, and we're going to get Kev Martin on the show. I tried to get him on the show last week for an interview to talk about his film, but in Canada, the screening he was doing was like sold out, and he was just so in demand that I couldn't even get half an hour with him to chat to him.
Well, you love to hear it, don't you? You love to hear someone like that doing well, because for those people who haven't remember the episode that Kev came and joined us where they were talking about Night of the Creeps. I have seldom met someone so in love with the genre, so deeply embedded in all of its tropes and its trivia, and just a pure, genuine love for horror filmmaking. I'm so glad to see his film selling out and to see people enjoying it and to see people interested and excited to talk to him.
Yeah, looking forward to getting him on the show to find out more about. It's going to be good to chat to him like after those premieres as well, because we're going to be able to find out how well the film was received. So I think it's been received really well. So
I'm just sorry I can't be there to see it myself on that big IMAX.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to be attending, which is disappointing. However, we offer our sincere apologies to Kev. But yeah, it's Friday and Saturday. Sorry, that the films are going to be shown. I think there's only 3 on Friday, but then there's like a full day of stuff on Saturday, including films like Eldritch USA, Lovely, Dark and Deep, sounds lovely, Superposition, what? Blue Light, Hood Witch, and The Last Video Store. So yeah, check it out if you're in London, obviously, or nearby. Get yourself down there for that. It usually gets a bit overshadowed by the August event, doesn't it? So definitely go and offer your support for it there. But yeah, that was a good segue, Andy. I was going to segue into as well asking Sarah about the Sarah of Horror Festival. Is that happening this year?
Yeah, the second edition of my online horror film festival. The award ceremony will be uploaded on Halloween. So it's an online film festival where people, they submit their short films, feature films, scripts, and trailers, and then I select the movies, and then they are nominated in various categories. And then I upload the award ceremony videos announcing the winners.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That sounds so cool. And it's an online festival, you say, so people can join in with that wherever they are in the world, if you're happy to stay up as early as late as you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
But yeah, since I'm also moving and then I have the festival, so I've been doing so many things. But it's fun.
It's all happening. What if you're a horror lover? I'm sure it doesn't feel like work, does it? It feels like it feels like fun. So that's the 31st of October. That's going live. The event, isn't it? We'll be sure to share that as well. How have the submissions been this year for everything? Have they been particularly great?
Yeah, last year they were like amazing. I'm so just mind blown at the talent, and this year they are equally amazing, and like different kind of categories in the horror genre. It's like all types of horror, so it's very fun to watch and also read. The scripts are really good as well.
How do you find kind of like picking what gets chosen, picking what kind of appears on the festival as like a filmmaker like yourself, as a director and a writer yourself? How is the process of picking those films?
Yeah, if I see something that really captivates me and shows a lot of heart and passion that went into making it, then I'm more like, oh yeah, I have to have this. I see a lot of potential, a lot of love for the genre, and just a lot of talent. And myself being an indie horror filmmaker, I know that sometimes the technical stuff might not be there fully because of funding issues, time issues, a lot of things going on. But I can appreciate all the hard work that goes into it, and I can still see a lot of amazing things despite some technical stuff. But yeah, I do have a more of an appreciation for indie horror movies in general.
I guess you can kind of appreciate as someone who's faced the challenges of what you can make with the money that you have available. Really understanding the intent, I guess, of what was meant to be created, and like the understanding what limitations and what they've done with so little. I think that someone who's done it themselves, you probably see past just the finished product, and where maybe something didn't quite go as much as it could have done with millions and millions of dollars behind it.
Yeah, because in Hollywood movies, they have such a huge budget. I always expect so much more. My expectations are so much higher. So in these movies, I'm just expecting to see the passion, the heart.
Exactly. And that is why I would watch Sleepaway Camp over Titanic any day of the week.
Yeah, me too.
Get it up, you James Cameron. Sorry.
Have you still not seen Titanic? You still haven't, have you?
No, I know what happens.
So what? I know what happens.
No, I've roughly seen it.
Did someone spoil the ending? No.
Yeah, I've roughly seen it. But if you're going to ingest any Titanic media, I will find the author's name. There is an excellent book called The Titanic's Mummy, written by like a British mystery writer. It's got loads of like Sherlock Holmes adventure energy. It's about like a professor and his young sidekick, and they take a trip on the Titanic trying to steal some treasure. There's some bad treasure hunters there, and there's also a mummy. And what more could you want? That's my Titanic media.
Didn't like Titanic 666 or something like that come out?
I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Yeah,
I think I saw a clip of it. It didn't make me go and want to watch the film, unfortunately. But
maybe you want to save for a special occasion and watch it, like put it on your watch list for like your birthday or something like that.
I'm gonna watch it on Christmas Eve. Come on. Yeah. So that is is that all I had for horror news?
I've got one more set of screenings coming up then, if people are so inclined, because as I know, and as some people know, England doesn't, stop. No, the UK doesn't stop at Kent. It goes further north than that. If you find yourself up in Scotland, up my way, my good friends over at the DCA in Dundee, they have some of their Dundead. They got something for everyone. Ben. They're looking at there. So in with a family, they've got a nice screen. They've got Hocus Pocus on the big screen up there. They've got The Exorcist 50th anniversary on the day itself. So you can get in and watch
family friendly.
Family friendly, right? And recent episode, and a film we both enjoyed, Michael Call, their director over there, who director of programming, has chosen. Film we watched just this year, Peeping Tom, is going to be on the 29th.
Yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah.
So plenty to see over there as well. So if you're up north and London's a bit far away to get, don't worry. Loads of things you can go and see. And actually, while we're talking about cinema, I know certainly all the cinemas near me are doing like special screenings and so on. So even if you're near none of those places, see what films are going out there. See what special screenings they've got on around Halloween. Get on down. Nothing better.
Get on down. Nothing better indeed. And then Sarah, you also attended a film festival, didn't you? You attended Monsters of Film Festival.
Exactly, yeah. In Stockholm, Sweden. It just wrapped yesterday. So I didn't manage to see all the movies I wanted to see because of the move and my festival and stuff. But I managed to watch 4 movies at least. And as I said, 3 of them were amazing. And one of them is probably my favorite film of the year so far.
Oh wow, really?
Wow. What are we watching out for? Come on, Sarah. My watch list. I've given up on ever completing it, so we can keep getting bigger.
Everyone has to watch Hundreds of Beavers. It's called Hundreds of Beavers. It's amazing. It's kind of a slapstick film about a man, his survival against beavers.
Hundreds of them.
I saw this. I think I saw someone else raving about it. This one, for once, my watch list is safe. It's thankfully on there, but I've heard it's incredible. I think I heard maybe Alexi Toliopoulos talking about it and saying how it was incredible, maybe his favorite film of the year. So that's 2 votes now.
I was laughing so much. All my friends were laughing as well. At like one point, I think I had laughed so much, I just couldn't laugh anymore. Like all the laughs just, left my body, and I was like, it's so funny, but I just like I can't laugh anymore.
Were there lots of beaver puns at least?
Well, they aren't talking so much in the film.
Oh, okay.
No, but there's a lot of gimmicks and slapstick stuff, and it's something special, definitely.
Oh, I'm gonna have to hurry and watch that.
Wow, I don't think I'd even heard of it, so I'm gonna add that.
It looks phenomenal. The poster is incredible. Just this guy with loads and loads of beavers behind him. It looks brilliant. Is the subtitle possibly thousands as well? It's like hundreds of beavers, possibly thousands.
Could be.
God, how can you anger so many beavers? What have you done wrong in life to anger that many beavers? I'd struggle to anger like one beaver. Must have destroyed something. That was just destroyed their home or something.
Yeah. It looks so good. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that the first time you've been to that festival? Is that the first incarnation of it? Is it a yearly thing?
No, it's I think on its 12th season or 12th year or 13th year. Yeah, so I've been going there for 10 years now. Yeah, so when I first went there, I think in 2013, and I went there alone because I didn't really know anybody who liked horror movies as I did, and from there on, I'm always going with my horror-loving friends. We're always like in this big group, and watching movies together. Amazing.
This sounds so good. I'm putting it out there, Ben. I'm not against doing a horror film festival in Nordics. It'd be a lovely excuse to get away.
Get away to Stockholm, 100%. Hell yes, I'm up for that. Maybe next year, Andy. Let's do it. We want to go to more film festivals with the podcast.
More sustainable than traveling over to America as well. We can probably do it. A nice little ferry trip over there. Lovely time.
Sounds absolutely delightful. And we've already got a friend. We've
got someone we all know. Sit with them.
Sarah, what can you tell us about this? Is the last thing I wanted to mention before we get into the film, Bunny Manslaughter.
That is my newest feature film. It's the second feature film that I've written. The first one that I directed by myself, and we're still editing the film. So that will take a while, but we finished shooting it this summer. And well, the movie is about these 3 2 guys and a woman called Hercules, Holly, and Ricky, and they are on their way to the woods, the Bunnyman Forest, to party, to camp, have a good time. But they kind of run into this bunny man that is a big urban legend in the bunny man forest. So he kind of crashes their party, probably.
Bunny man. If you're going into some woods are they called did you call them the Bunny Man Woods as well? I feel like if you're going
Bunny Man Forest.
Bunny Man Forest. If you're going into a place called the Bunny Man Forest and the Bunny Man turns up, you can't be shocked. You can't be upset by that. Yeah. Definitely not. Oh wow, amazing. So you shot that in the summer, so that's all. Are we thinking next year for a release for that?
Yeah, I really wanted to have a release next year. I was thinking this year, but I think that next year will be better. To start with the film, I don't know which month or when, depends on the editing and everything, and which festivals will play it, of course. But yeah, it's a horror comedy shot in like a shot a video style type. Yeah.
Amazing. Looking forward to checking
out.
The
characters are like lovable idiots. Yeah.
Yeah. We like
just my type of film,
show,
Sarah. Just my type of film. That sounds great.
No one's ever described this podcast as containing any lovable idiots. Just idiots.
No, they don't say lovable. Absolutely not.
Sarah, you in the film as well? Is that right?
Yeah, I am in the film. I have a small part because I really wanted to focus on because I'm actually filming. I filmed the film for the first time. I was behind the camera, I was filming and directing, so I didn't want to, be like have a starring role. So I had a small fun part with them, and then I jumped right back into filming and directing.
If you turn out to be the bunny man, Sarah. Well, no spoilers here. Is the bunny man is that a real urban legend? Although I am reading it now, and it's a story of a man who got attacked by sickly mutated bunnies.
Not in Sweden. There's no urban legend surrounding the bunny man here, but I've heard that there was one in the US, but it's not where I got the idea from. So it has really nothing to do with their urban legend or the attack that happened.
A man was bitten by a radioactive bunny, and then chaos ensued. Awesome. We look forward to that. We'll update our listeners on when that is available. Next year, of course. I've done this all a bit in a mad order, but I will just talk about a movie called. This is kind of news, I guess, because we haven't seen this yet. It's a Wonderful Knife, which is a Christmas slasher movie coming out on the 7th of November, and we have just scheduled an interview with the director, Tyler McIntyre. So we're hoping to speak to him this week. So we'll...
You met him.
You've met him?
I have.
In Fright Fest in Glasgow, because I used to have a YouTube channel called Bitches of Horror, where I interviewed indie horror filmmakers, and I interviewed him. I think after we saw Patchwork, because it was screened there.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah,
he was
we are
a lovely guy.
Yeah, at time of recording, I'm going to meet him in a couple of days. So Wednesday this week, I'm going to catch up with him. So interview will come out a little while later as we get a little bit closer to release. But I'm really excited to see the film. Like, I think this is, from the trailer alone, I immediately can tell this is going to be my kind of thing, and something that's going to go into that lovely rotation of movies that come between Christmas and Halloween.
Yeah, and just the title, amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. Great concept.
So looking forward to that. That should be good. I guess we'll talk about what we've been watching. I know we covered a little bit of something you've seen, Sarah, but I don't know if Andy, have you seen anything this week that you wanted to discuss? We've just been
on
the road again.
No, I've been on a plane, haven't I? Perfect place for watching movies, of course. But let me tell you about some real life horrors first. How triggered and upset I was by some of the grouping of the films on the plane. First thing that immediately upset me was there was a little section, when you're sort of scrolling and it's giving you some suggestions for your flight and the categories you can choose. One of them was seriously short films. It's like, a short film selection on a flight? What an absolute treat. No. The shortest film on their short film selection was 90 minutes. And I was like, that is not a short film. That is regular.
They've mixed up short films and just short feature films there.
Look, I know that June is on here, and that's almost 3 hours. And there's several, and Beau is Afraid was on there as well, like massive. But doesn't mean 90-minute film is suddenly a short one.
No.
So I was already upset by that. But don't worry, it's almost Halloween, haven't they? So good folks at BA have got a little selection for frightening movies, for horror movies for the Halloween season. First one on there on the little horror section. And they did have horror films on there. Us was on there. There was some good horror films, but the first one on there, Batman. And I was like, I know there's a bat in it, and bats are spooky.
What, like the original Batman?
Original 1989 Batman, yeah.
It's because of Jack Nicholson's face in that. That's terrifying.
Unless,
to be fair,
unless they're saying that I'm a criminal and therefore I would be afraid of Batman.
He will break your legs for next to nothing.
Yeah.
Jaywalking.
The pettiest of crimes. And then the final upsetting thing was there was like a little hidden gem section on there. Hidden gems? I wonder what hidden, lesser known films are going to be on this section. What if I find a new discovery, a real indie darling? Jaws was on there. That's right.
No one has seen it. I don't know what that is.
I'll set the scene for you. Like, it's from a little-known director that he's done a couple of things. Yeah,
Stevie.
His name's Steven something. Yeah, and it's about this shark on this island. Yeah. Yeah. So after I've been upset by that, I watched a couple of films on the plane. I watched June. I mean, Space is real horrible, but it's not really a horror film. But I did sit and watch.
Dusty.
It's ever so dusty. And those worms, they'll give you a spook. I watched 65, the Adam Driver and the Dinosaurs one. And then I did sit down and watch The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh, wait. I like how you said, and then I sat down to watch. I'm assuming you were sat down the whole time, right?
Well, I had a little stand up between, but yeah, I did.
Did you power walk down the aisle? You're the kind of guy who would do that.
I said, oh, no, I wouldn't. I would never.
Oh, go on then. Pope's Exorcist.
The Pope's Exorcist. Have either of you seen The Pope's Exorcist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was your opinion? Like, for a while, it took me a moment to get into it because old Rusty.
It was a bit different than I thought it would be. I think it was more kind of comedic than I thought it would be. In some places, I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be funny. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he's riding his little scooter from here, there, and everywhere. He's going from Italy to Spain on his little scooty.
And having all his little coffees.
Yeah.
And there's the cardinals who are trying to tell him off when he comes up in front of the board, and he's like, oh, get me a coffee, grazie. And then he's like, oh, you're going to be sacked, the Pope's Exorcist. He goes, oh yeah, you're going to sack me, are you? You have to, only my boss can sack me. Is my boss a second? Oh, it's the Pope, isn't it? Yeah, you can't.
Pope.
You can't. He goes, I'm not going to call the bloody Pope. So, well, see you later. So Russell Crowe's The Pope's Exorcist is really, he's like quite light and funny. And then you get some of the possession scenes and, some of the extremity they go into there, I think knocked the new Exorcist into a cocked hat. Like, it was like some of the extremity of the violence and just how rude the bloody demons are. They're far ruder in The Pope's Exorcist than they are in just the Archbishop of Canterbury's Exorcist that we recently watched, the second one.
Sarah, did you see The Exorcist Believer as well?
I haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it in cinema, but then I heard the reviews, and I'm like, maybe I'll wait until I think it is video on demand or stream or something.
I think it is on demand, pretty much in the next couple of days. I read that soon, so you'll be able to watch it.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to know to take it, but I enjoyed it enough, I think, and I think the setup as the premise for The Pope's Exorcist, that, not spoiling any details of it, but it kind of sets up that you could just do a series of these. He could just be The Pope's Exorcist goes to Ibiza.
we could go.
You could go anywhere. It's not
Fast and the Furious style. Fast and the Furious style. We could get
The Pope's Exorcist Tokyo Drift.
So Pope's Exorcist Tokyo Drift.
Secret of the Ooze, Judgment Day. I mean, Judgment Day, very Bible as well. Yeah, all these things.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope we get more of them.
Yeah, so it was fun, very, very silly at times, but then other times very, very serious, a bit of tonal whiplash. And other than that, Ben, I finished the Hell House LLC trilogy. So I'm
Oh, you did?
So I can ask Ash what she wanted to say about the trilogy now they're all together, and I can be ready for the prequel that comes out anytime now.
Lovely stuff. Talking of like Hell House, I watched something called Monster Inside. It was like America's most extreme haunted house experience or something like that. I probably butchered the title of it then. I wasn't going to mention it because it was pretty naff, but I thought I'd just mention it. In terms of that, it's like a real story about some guy, and he's clearly like having a power trip because he's like, there's a cat close up right now, which I always enjoy. But there's this guy, he's like, he gets people to sign a waiver, and he's like, basically, I can do whatever I want to, and it seems like he's just a bit of a knobhead, and he gets a kick from it. It wasn't great. It was one of those documentaries where you're like, okay, but what's the point? You know, when you're just like, make a point about something. Are you tracking this guy down?
Has he learned a lesson? No, who knows? Okay, and what's that called? Oh, sorry, you just said you butchered the title. So...
Monster Inside, America's most extreme haunted house. So it isn't even a haunted house, right? This is not a haunted house.
It's a torture house, basically.
It's a torture house. They go, we're gonna waterboard you. We're gonna lock you in a empty chest freezer. We're gonna put spiders on your head. We're gonna cover you. Yeah, it was basically like, we're gonna push you to your very limits. It's not like boo. It's literally like
jump out, give you a Chinese burn.
None of that. It's all just horrible torture stuff.
Really horrible stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Any chance does the waiver say that you're not allowed to get him back or something like that? Like, you're not allowed to thump me if I do something mean. That's not allowed.
I think he needs that. And he kind of treated it a bit like Tinder. So he would like sort of meet people and like meet women, younger women, because he's like 50s, 60s, and then kind of like build up an emotional connection with them while he was torturing them, and then almost like manipulate them into some sort of romantic scenario with him. Do you know what I mean? Like not like actually coercing somebody, but manipulate them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Watch
so you found a documentary about the most horrible bloke, allegedly.
Horrible bloke. But yeah, I didn't enjoy that one.
You know who's not a horrible bloke though? Someone else who I've watched a bit of his program, only the first episode so far. Notoriously nice man. Danny Robbins, his series Uncanny, that's a long-standing podcast series. It's on TV now. I saw the first episode of the thing of it on BBC Two, so it's on iPlayer if you're in the UK now. If you like the podcast, it's more of the same. They lean a little bit into the sort of dramatic, but they're not quite at like Most Haunted levels. But you know, he does do a good speculative look at camera, like, could it be an actual ghost?
Could it be real now? Could it be real?
But then his friend, who's the skeptic, comes in and goes, "Nah, it's probably not. Actually, it might just be pipes, or your mom's a liar, or something like that." But it's good. It's a good series. I've started the first one. I'll be carrying on watching that next few weeks.
Awesome. Sarah, anything else you've seen this week on top of film festival stuff?
I also watched Apocalypse Clown yesterday at Monster Film. The apocalypse happens, and we follow these bunch of actual clowns.
Oh my god! I feel like these, based on these titles alone. Although, as I start Googling apocalypse, the first thing that comes up before Apocalypto, before Apocalypse Now, Apocalypse Clown comes up before that.
The algorithm knows you too well, Ben.
It sure does. It sure does. Are you not? I hope you're not scared of clowns, though, right?
No, but that was a fun one. Yeah, and then I also watched a French film called The Animal Kingdom, where people were like slowly turning into animals.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had like one side that thought that, you know, those animals should have like human rights or animal rights, and then we had another group of people that were like against it and wanted them, you know, locked up, gone. So it's kind of a battle, and then
that's weird.
You know, they realize that they are turning into animal themselves. Yeah,
this looks great. I'm adding this straight to my watch list, and I can see that Romain Dury, who plays Francois in the film, he's in. Yeah. He plays the director in
Final
Cut, which I really loved at Fright Fest Glasgow.
Oh, lovely!
Really loved. Yeah, I have to
Sweet.
get straight on that.
Just one more thing I'll mention before we talk about Deep Red. I went to the Women Make Horror short film showcase at the Watershed Cinema in Bristol. It was organized by writer-director Melanie Light. There were 10 short films, all really good,
90
quality.
minutes or less, Ben? Short films, apparently?
Way less than 90 minutes. The shortest one was like 5 minutes. The longest, like 20. But I won't mention all of them. However, there were some highlights, and the highlights for me included a film called Bad Acid, directed by Sam Fox. Not that Sam Fox, Andy. Get your mind out the gutter. A film called
Television
Yummy...
presenter Sam Fox. That's the only reason I know her.
Yeah, of course. She hosted the Brits that time. Yummy Mummy, directed by Gabriele Stanisescu, and then a film called Dana by Lucia Forner Segara, which was kind of like a kind of like a rape revenge film, but framed very differently. And it was great. It was really good, and it was just a really fun night. And Melanie encouraged the crowd to be very rowdy, and rowdy they were. And I think when you know that a crowd's going to be rowdy, you get involved, don't you? You get involved in it. It's when the rowdy crowd sneaks up upon you and you don't expect it.
When you're not in the mood for it, when you're just coming to sit down to watch something quietly, you're like, bloody shush. But I'm expecting if people are talking about rowdy, what levels of rowdy are you talking, Ben? Are you talking the opening scene from Scream 2? You're talking Gremlins? Nothing's that rowdy, surely.
Nothing's that rowdy. That's madness.
Someone swinging around with popcorn bags on their ears.
Oh, no time for that. Although someone next to me did spill their drink all over my feet. So, in a
That's too rowdy. Come on.
He did apologize there.
Oh, that's okay then.
So that was good. And the last thing I saw is I managed to check out It Lives Inside, which was at Fright Fest, wasn't it? Did either of you see it at Fright Fest?
I didn't catch it at Fright Fest.
No. Interesting stuff. Is an Indian American teenager struggling with her cultural identity. She's being stalked by some kind of demonic entity. What vibes was it giving me? I guess like a bit of Nightmare on Elm Street, because there was lots of stuff in Dreams as well. And demon wise, it was very reminiscent, reminded me of a few like Resident Evil 4 beasties that we've seen, especially in the remake of the game recently as well. So some really good creature design. And yeah, an interesting take on that sort of setup with some different cultural stuff included, you know, because sometimes it's kind of like it's one thing or another, but this having it be some like an Indian American teenager and her family and all of the cultural stuff that goes along with that was interesting. I thought it was good.
Sounds grand. We've all been having such a good time watching loads of movies. My watch list is going to be chockers just as I start to feel like I'm making progress.
Sure is. And that was it, apart from the film of the week. The film of the weeks, which was, Sarah, did you just suggest it, or did you choose it from the list?
I think I chose it. Yeah. I chose it from the list.
I'd stuck a few giallo films on the list of upcoming episodes for us because we'd covered a few recently, and I think I kind of wanted to add some more to the episode list as well. So Deep Red is a 1975 Italian giallo film directed by Dario Argento, and there's a copy of it there. Oh hell yeah, that's a brilliant cover as well, isn't it? That is a great cover. There's loads of like different covers and poster designs for it, but that is the poster design which is like the most common, I guess, which is like the doll and some sort of zombie in the background. I mean, that doesn't even actually happen in the that doesn't even happen in the that doesn't even happen in the film, does it? It's like, hang on a minute, where's this going? 1975 giallo film directed by Dario Argento. It stars David Hemmings as a musician who investigates a series of murders performed by a mysterious figure wearing black leather gloves. David Hemmings, right? I was like, I recognize this guy. Gonna give him a little bit of a Google, and I recognize him from loads of stuff. He's been like a bit part actor in, well, that sounds mean, I don't mean it like that, a smaller role actor in loads of stuff like The A-Team, Gangs of New York, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. His eyebrows, if you haven't seen his eyebrows in the last 10 20 years, please take a look, because I've never seen eyebrows like this on a human being before. I am baffled, impressed, and a little bit scared by these eyebrows. So
Yeah, I
please
will
just
definitely Google his eyebrows after.
Yeah.
please Google David
podcast.
Hemmings, and
David Hemmings' eyebrows.
it's like don't even Google David Hemmings' eyebrows. Just Google David Hemmings and those eyebrows. Because in this film, not for a second do I think that guy's got mad eyebrows. I just think
Yeah,
standard
no.
eyebrows.
Just a normal man.
His
Yeah.
eyebrows are like Ming the Merciless. I'm not joking.
Mhm.
Please do it. Okay. So yeah, starts David Hemmings.
Oh yeah, I can see this. Yeah, he's kind of like yeah.
It's insane.
He's got the perfect eyes to be in a brilliant like drag cabaret act, except he's just a normal elderly man in a suit.
Yeah. The film's score was composed and performed by Goblin. Of course it was.
Or
This was like one of those sort of main themes where I'm incredibly familiar with that. It made me feel like they've used it in another film, but I guess they haven't, which means I've heard this piece of music before I'd even seen the film. Who else have we got on it? Daria Nicolodi, Gabriele Lavia, Macha Méril, and just a few. So in terms of scores, it's got 7.5 on IMDb, 93% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 86% audience score, 3.9 on Letterboxd, and some choice reviews on Letterboxd. Patrick Willems says, uses a brilliant technique where every time someone is about to die, it plays the coolest music in the world, so every murder scene turns into a dance party. 4 stars.
The music goes so hard in this film.
It goes incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Joe Lynch says masterful. Is it that Joe Lynch? Masterful compositions, a deliciously infectiously creepy score, pure giallo iconography, and enough classic Dario moments with what feels like an actual story. 4.5 stars. Media Pundit says Deep Red is a masterpiece of dreamlike horror, a nightmare wrapped in a gruesome detective story. 5 stars. And then Jason Lee says, dull and misogynistic pianist who looks like a tired Rick Mail repeatedly turns down the advances of a sexy 70s journalist for 180 minutes. 4 stars. Which is true. Which I was kind of baffled by. Such a weird character. But yeah, so is this one of your favorite giallo films then, Sarah?
Yeah, it is, but I do like Suspiria more from Dario Argento. That's actually my favorite film ever.
Is it?
And I also
okay.
think I prefer Tenebre. But I really like Deep Red as well. I saw it, I think, when I was maybe 15 or 16. And then I've seen it a couple of times, but today was like the first rewatch in many years, so to speak. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. And a
first time watch, a revisit.
First time watch for me and Andy. I think I've seen a different cut to you guys. I think you both saw I guess like a director's cut, or maybe like
you've seen British Airways short film version, only 90 minutes, whereas we've seen 2-hour jobs.
So yeah, it says here in its full length director's cut.
Yeah. So
DVD.
if I skip over any details, please feel free to let me know, and I'll jump backwards. But yeah, this is like, it feels like it's got all of the pieces of a classic giallo film, a classic Argento giallo film. I feel like you're getting everything that's expected from a giallo film. You're getting here, aren't you? There's a lot of play with there's like twists with who you think perhaps the killer is going to be. There's a couple of interesting subplots with interesting characters. There's some like play on gender as well, which I think Dario Argento seems to do a lot, especially with like minor characters as well. Like I've definitely seen like a video essay on YouTube about how Dario Argento seems to put in the different characters with different sort of genders, which was interesting to see again and again. Like sort of Dario Argento, especially like Tenebre, has been thought of as like one of the iconic queer giallo movies, and I guess like Deep Red's got some of those subplots in there as well going on. Because even though the character of David Hemmings as Marcus Daly is misogynistic, there's a little bit of sexual tension between him and Carlo, I think, who's always on the sauce. Carlo. There's a little bit of sexual tension going on between them.
He's always on it.
He's always on it. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
Which is, you could probably look into this. Like, obviously, the last description of, there's a guy who rejects the advances of a 70s journalist, a sexy 70s journalist for 180 minutes. And maybe the reason he's being so horrible misogynistic, maybe he's repressing something, you know? That's what
I wasn't sure he did. I took away a little bit that maybe they just got together off camera, because there's a bit like, come on, I'll show you how to unwind. And there's a little bit like, and then it literally does a scene cut, and then he's doing his shirt. I was just told you'd feel better. I just assumed they just
wait a minute,
had it away off camera.
Is that a director's cut moment as well? Because
I don't remember that. They're walking through a park after a funeral where they've been lining up suspects, and she goes, "Oh, you're so stressed all the time. Look at your hands, always shaking about." And he goes, "Oh, it's because I'm an artist. I'm sensitive." She goes, "Oh, I'm not like a tough old elephant like you journalists." She goes, "No, I'm actually very sensitive. I've got real soft skin." Look, and he gives her a little stroke on the neck. And then the next thing you know, she goes, "Come on, let's go then." And then it cuts to the scene and he's doing up a shirt. She just told you you'd feel better. So I'm not sure they didn't just have it away off camera.
Just tickled her. She just tickled him all over the chest.
Nice. Let's continue this conversation back at home.
This film also reminds me a little bit of, and sorry if this is just a UK thing, Sarah, not just a UK thing, but quite a niche UK thing. Reminds me a bit of Jonathan Creek. Have you? Do you agree, Andy and Sarah? Have you ever heard of Jonathan Creek?
I don't know.
Well, it's like
Sarah,
a British...
you're missing out. It's probably our strongest cultural export. So it's about a man who is quite a grumpy magician's assistant, ever so clever though, and he solves murders that would appear to be impossible, but with his skills in designing magic tricks, he can solve the murders, and he has immense sexual tension with Caroline Quentin, who plays a journalist, and you spend the whole thing going, will they ever sleep together? They never quite do.
And it's one of those things where, again, there's loads of twists and turns in it. You think the answer is going to be one thing, and it turns out to be another thing. And he usually reveals the answer in a room full of people and goes like, "This is actually what happened." Anyway, it reminded me of that. That has also got a great theme tune.
It does. It's that spooky music. Not quite as spooky as Midsummer Murders music, but still pretty spooky. I think it's a piece of classical music called Danse Macabre.
Oh, is it?
Don't know where I pulled that from. Apparently, I know more about classical music than I thought.
You've pulled that one straight out of your
top of the dome.
Off the top of the dome. Okay, so I guess we should get into the plot. So again, if I miss anything out, please feel free to jump in. And it starts with like a cold open, where it's just like a shot of a floor.
A Christmas murder.
It's a bloody Christmas murder. The worst time to do one.
Yeah, and it comes quite suddenly. You hear that nurse's rhyme or school at night song, the la la la, and then someone is getting killed, but you see a shadow of it, and then you see the knife dropping and a pair of what we assume is a child's pair of legs, and that's it. And then it cuts to the song and title.
Yeah, so and I love this. I love this like little Christmas murder reveal, because I think this could have only been made in this time, where those shoes that we see, they're proper like school shoes, which could belong to a boy or a girl. They're just shoes that you would only have when you're at school with big long white socks on. My immediate suspicion for the murder at this point is it's bloody Veruca Salt, not got what she wants for Christmas, stabbed up her poor dad, because that's the look about it. It's got those school shoes on, and I thought there's been a Christmas murder here. They've not got the right present. She's kicked off.
There's been a Christmas murder. You get that with the killer though. We see the killer's feet, and I think it's purposely framed so we don't like identify what gender the killer could be, because he's got lovely smart shoes on.
Oh, the killer goes to great lengths throughout this film to be like disguised from people that they can't in the film know who's watching. Loads of like wearing leather gloves and like something that covers every bit of skin, so you get plenty of glances of them.
I had,
Don't they look? Isn't the killer outfit very similar to Pieces as well? It is, isn't it? like coat and hat and
But
gloves.
the standard murderer attire just looked like Spy versus Spy. Looked like a newspaper strip, like Spy, with like a big high collar jacket and a big wide brimmed hat, so you can never be found.
And the incredible brightly colored blood is
Yeah.
You have to love
So
giallo
good.
movie blood. Just hits different.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? And then it's 20 years later in Turin, and there's a conference. Was there something before that in your version?
No, just some jazz.
Yeah.
There's some jazz.
There's a scene. Yeah, there's a scene with Marcus' character where he plays. They are playing jazz, and he's being there and commenting on.
Yeah, he's commenting, and he goes, "I'll tell you what, that jazz was really good," and obviously setting up those people, and you know what, brilliant work, boss is happy because too good, in fact. Jazz is meant to be a bit shit, so play it a bit dirtier.
That's annoying, isn't it?
Fucking hell.
That's brilliant. That's perfect. That's on the money, but it's too perfect.
It's too perfect. I don't like it, actually. Try and play it just a little bit ruder, a little bit differently. That's how you do jazz.
So 20 years later, there's a conference. Professor Giordani is chairing it, and he features a psychic medium called Helga Ullman. And Helga does, I'm well psychic, I am. I can actually tell you that this man in the third row has got some keys in his hand. In fact, one of the keys is bloody massive.
Yeah, one key that's bloody massive. And then after he does that, then it's like, and your name's this, and you live here. And this is your favourite colour. I'm already impressed.
This is Darren Brown all over again, isn't it? I'll never fall for it. But then Helga suddenly gets overwhelmed by horrific, twisted, perverted, murderous thoughts of somebody in the audience. She has a connection with someone. There's a killer in that audience. I know it.
In their midst, yeah. But a childlike killer. I love this bit as well, where she, like, Helga's two powers, by the way, incredibly psychic, lovely, shiny blonde bob. And then, like, they go, oh, she's having a big psychic vision of all these things. She goes, I'm all right, actually. And then it just hits her double. So she goes from like absolutely going mad because terrible psychic visions, then it's okay, and then it's like, no, I'm fine. And then kicks off all over again. And I've never seen someone try and have somebody water, and they give her that glass of water, literally shove it in her mouth, and then she's down it, and then she spits all the water out again, does a big spit take.
Dribbling off her chin.
So let's stop having a psychic vision before you try and give her water.
The sound design in this film is insane. There are at least, I reckon, 10 times where I went, whoa, what's going on? Like shrieking and just a really loud, just a huge, like a not necessarily a jump scare, because it felt like it was all very organic noise, like a bird flying towards you, a horrible, creepy dummy with lovely pencil thin eyebrows coming towards you.
He'll come on later, have to bonk him on the head. But first, so after she gets over having her psychic episode, our lady says, no, actually, I'm all right now, but there was, and she's explaining more about the event that she's had and the psychic vision. She describes it as also quite childlike. But little do we know, there's a figure listening from the auditorium, from the shadows.
Is this the kind of film where you feel like you could have, without spoiling it at this point, could you have started to work out who the killer could have been fairly early on, do you think? Or do you think it was very well hidden?
We see a bit of someone putting on some eyeliner, right?
Yeah.
Was that not Helga? No?
No, I think it was someone else. So it was like a close-up of the eyes. But when I first saw it the first time, I had no idea who could be the killer at this point. I was like,
I completely wrong guessed this until it wasn't that person. I was like, okay, so obviously saw the eyeliner going on, says, right, Claudia Winkleman. If she's not in this, then I'm out of ideas. And then, but this is before we've even seen, we've only seen a murder in the distant past. This is when we go back to our psychic's house, and she is having a phone call explaining what's happening. What's that? A knock at the door at this hour? Little ring of the bell, go to answer it. Ding dong, Cleaver Man. Straight as soon as she gets to the door, chopped.
Yeah, that's what I like about his movies, because some of the death scenes just come out of nowhere. Like he opens the door, boom, cleaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a film with less restraint, there'd be a cat jump scare first, right? One of the cats would be out, or she'd already be scared. No, she's just going to answer the door. I'm not even sure she gets to answer it. I think the door gets chopped open by the cleaverman and straight into the shoulder. That lovely Italian, like the
Yes.
giallo red blood is everywhere.
Yeah, it's intense, and I thought she was definitely done for. There's nothing you can't. Yeah, she's definitely done for.
Yeah, and of
but
course,
yeah,
there's some amazing music as well
Hmm.
when she died. Yeah, of
the
course.
music, that's the thing. The music in a way is great, but it does kind of ruin things because as soon as the music starts kicking off, A, someone's going to get attacked, and B, they're most likely not going to live through it. This is a murder scene. They're dead. But yeah, it's awesome because not just this main theme, but all of the music that Goblin seem to provide for it. It's just some of it's so odd. Like it's really strange, isn't it? It's a little bit like it's like melancholy, but it's a bit upbeat in a way. Especially a bit where Marcus starts running up the stairs after he sees it in a minute. It kind of reminded me of like I'm sorry that everything's reminding me of British TV, but like a 70s British sitcom of like somebody running up the stairs, upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah, and I was also thinking some of the music kind of reminded me of the I think Italian Eurocrimes movies, like the
Oh wow, okay.
police kind of chase, like a bit silly but a bit intense. Yeah, so
yeah,
the music was very diverse in a lot of the scenes.
You know, you'd love this music then. Buddy Marcus, the conductor. It's a bit dirty, isn't it? It's
a
not
too
perfect.
Yeah,
it's a little bit wonky. It's like takes you off beat. So were he not in the film, were he just listening to this music as a film watcher rather than a participant, he'd be like, brilliant.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot to say.
Exactly. But yeah, so he's a jazz musician and band leader, Marcus Daly. He's with his friend Carlo. They're having what are they even doing? They're just on the street drinking.
Carlo's having a piss up by the fountain, right?
Yeah, he has been drinking a lot, so he's super drunk.
He's super drunk and very philosophical. He goes through little bits of the Communist Manifesto. He's like, oh, those bourgeoisie, they don't want you to be, you want to get out of here while you can.
And then Marcus looks up and he sees basically the end of this murder, and he sees like somebody getting their head smashed through. They didn't fall out the building, did they? Just get their heads.
Yeah, they just get they get cleavered through the window, and then she gets spiked on the glass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. And as any good Samaritan would do, you run immediately up to her aid.
Yeah, but it's too late, obviously, because she has been cleavered several times at this point before the glass incident, even. So I think the police even say, like, oh, half a dozen of these were fatal blows. And they've even got a few more after that as well. So any number of them would have done for you. So she's been extra killed at this point.
Extra killed. That's exactly how it works.
And what is the thing we get with, because we meet the lead detective, the captain here. Is it an Argento thing? Is it a giallo thing in general? Do all of the detectives have to have like a quirk or a thing? Because this one is
a giallo thing, actually. Yeah.
Because this one, he loves a white bread sandwich with the crust cut off. He's just pounding those sangers like there's no tomorrow. Like literally between lines, like, yeah, sure.
Has he made a little packed lunch for himself?
Yeah,
he's brought it along.
He's having his like marmalade sandwiches.
Maybe that was what he actually got to eat on set. And they were like, yeah, you can only eat but in the scene, okay? He's like, okay.
That's true.
Maybe
enough.
that's what he'd do. He's like having his sandwiches and would be like, oh, I've said that line wrong. Actually, I'm gonna have to do that again. I will need another sandwich.
Smart. That's smart.
If you were an Italian detective, what sandwich would you have if you had to have the same one every day?
Oh, well, if you're Italian, some sort of Italian meat.
Yeah, maybe some I don't know, prosciutto or something.
Yes,
very
that's
nice.
A fantastic choice.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
You don't want a meatball marinara, you'd be spilling that down yourself.
Oh no, definitely not. Especially if it's a foot long. You look ridiculous on a crime scene, chowing down a foot long.
You get lovely triangle sandwiches, lovely Lovely tuna, lovely tuna and sweet corn. Quite a stable sandwich.
Oh, it'd have
Can
to
you
be
imagine?
stable, wouldn't it? You'd be on the move all day.
Yeah, like it's good. It's good protein. Got some carbs from the bread there. What you don't want to be having, solving murders in hot Italy, is something like egg. Can you imagine?
Oh yeah.
But then that would be a quirk. If a guy turned up eating egg sandwiches, it'd be a quirk for a giallo film.
Yeah, true.
So Marcus, he thinks one of the apartment's paintings has disappeared, because he remembers seeing it. Does he remember seeing it from ground level?
Or I think he remembers seeing it when he first came in to solve them. When he first came in to like try and aid the woman.
But it was so briefly, like, yeah.
So I guess he kind of thinks that, like, whoever killed her has taken the painting as well. So Marcus is like identified as the eyewitness, and this is when Gianna Brezzi turns up.
She's so cool. I love her in this film.
She's very cool, yeah.
She seems to be like one level or one step closer to reality than all the characters in it. She sort of walks in and they text, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "Ha ha ha."
And I'm allowed. I love her camera. It's very cute.
Very cute. She's not in it nearly enough, though. I don't think. I think she should be sort of like a mainstay throughout the film. But a lot of the investigating Marcus kind of does on his own, which I thought was a bit of a shame.
Well, that's what she gets angry about later. Just stop leaving me bloody out of this investigation. I'm a much cooler character, Marcus.
Yeah, stop it, you fool. I've got to keep saving you. So Marcus, this is when he goes to visit the home of his friend Carlo, which is when he meets Carlo's mother, Martha, who was like a film star. She got a whole wall of photos of herself from when she was in films, which I think is fine. I don't think that's narcissistic at all. It's lovely.
Yeah, if you've done lots of film work, then why not have yourself up on the wall, eh? Be proud of yourself. Society's always trying to make you smaller than you are, Martha. You stand up for yourself. Be proud of your achievements.
Exactly. And then she directs him to like Carlo's bedroom, and then there's somebody who answers the door, and initially like Marcus like goes to walk away, like, "Oh, sorry for bothering you." And then when he does get let in and he walks in, Carlo says, "That's right, your friend, not only a heavy drinker but also an F slur," he says.
Oh no, that's unfortunate for the timing. Although, hang on, I just realised I didn't have that problem in Italian. I just had subtitles. They didn't subtitle that.
Oh, they didn't. Okay, so maybe just my version then, especially for English language.
Yeah, those bigots in England, they'll enjoy that.
And I was kind of interested. So again, when I talk about the play on gender, this to me looked like, and I've confirmed it since, it looked like a woman was playing the character of a man. And in this, even in the story of this, they were kind of making out that it was a man, a very feminine looking man, but it was a woman. I've Googled the cast. They put a little fake mustache on her and everything.
That's what to say. I thought they had some, like, just the faintest wisp of it. But yeah, so there's a woman that they made up, was it?
Yeah, the faintest wisp of a mustache. And yeah, you can see at this point that Carlo's like in a bad way. He's obviously struggling with something internally. Yeah, which is an interesting little subplot, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't. He's clearly troubled, but he doesn't really. I think he's kind of factored from where we follow Marcus through. He's like another character that we kind of are allowed to forget at various times, but then he checks in on him just periodically, or we see him out drinking again. Because that was the point, actually, because when Marcus was up, when he saw the murder out the window, he looks back down and sees someone in a raincoat escaping just as Carlo is staggering back into the street. So we've seen them, and he sort of asks, "Oh, did you see someone in a raincoat just come past here?" So they've been near each other. They've just missed each other. So Carlo's kind of been near the scene as well.
Okay, and then after that, the killer like comes to Marcus's place, doesn't he? Tries to get at him, and then is that when they have a little bit of a like you can hear him for the other side of the door because he locks it. Yeah,
he has another couple of incidents with Gianna first, because this is where they go to the funeral. This might be maybe one of your cut scenes, Ben. So they have the funeral where Gianna kind of points out some more of the characters in Helga's life. She points out that this is one of her friends who was a really big supporter of her. This is the professor that introduced her. This is another psychic who's also really responsive. So it feels like years later, when you would have your Scream movies, these are the characters being laid out in front of you that might have a role to play here. Strangely enough, bit of a red herring, because largely a lot of them just don't really appear very much after this.
Yeah, that's true.
But then this is when they also have the scene where they goes, "Come on, I know what to cheer you up," because they have like a little bit of a flirt together, and it sort of establishes them as a detective pair. Which is, "Oh, you're too sensitive, and I tell you what, your hands are shaking all the time. I know what to sort you right out." He's like, "You're so rude, Gianna. You're the rudest person I've ever met, but I like you. Let's go and solve this murder together." By which I mean mostly on my own, and I'll try and neglect you quite a bit. And he messes up the lock on a car. She's giving him a lift back to town, and he leans on the locking mechanism because a mechanic has to open it now. You have to climb out the roof. Like
he's right down. He's having a lovely. Is this when he goes back to her house and he just, for some reason, just starts being a horrible misogynist, unprompted?
Yeah. I could have sworn they slept together or something, because he is doing a show. Said, "Don't you feel better now?" But maybe I'm mistaken.
Maybe change his shirt. Maybe just I don't know. I didn't get it. I could still. Yeah. So maybe. What does she says something about? I can't remember. She says something.
That'll stop your hand shaking.
What does she say that sets him off on his like misogynist rant? She says something like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually a strong, independent woman," and he goes, "Oh, for God's sake!"
Yeah, he like goes, "Actually, well, you might be strong, actually, but when it comes to men, I'm Marcus, not Carlo. I think that we've got the absolute monopoly on brains in this one."
He says women are more gentle. Initially, he says weak, but then he changes it to gentle. Yeah, he's just got to be in his bonnet about something. They just give it a rest in it, and the only way to settle it, of course, is an arm wrestle.
Everyone does. Yeah.
I love it how she beats him twice, and he is so livid. So the first thing is, "Come on, arm wrestle. We'll see you strong in this situation." And she's like a coiled spring. The first time he puts it, the second he touches his hand, she's like, "Slam!" And he goes, "Oh, blooming hell, don't!" Oh, it's like,
you caught me off guard.
You wouldn't have won if you. And then I think this is where you get the extra minutes in here, because this build up to a second arm wrestle is much like it is in real life. Is right. I'm going to do this arm wrestle again. Now, don't start until I say, okay, because that's cheating. And keep your elbows on the table. And if you cheat, it doesn't count. Okay, so I'm going to count, all right? And he does like a countdown, and they have another arm wrestle, and then she takes her elbow off the table and slams him again, and he's livid.
The thing is, when he says "you caught me off guard," I'm like, well, maybe that's where true strength comes from. You know, you're going to be caught off guard in the real world.
Yeah, strategy is a big part of strength, Marcus. Get used to it.
You need to be ready to go. Exactly. And he says that he's going to go off for the day, and that was when. So at this point, are we thinking that Gianna is like genuinely interested in him, or is she just wanting to keep close to him so she can be close to the story? That's what I kind of felt.
Well, I think she feels bad especially when the murderer comes to Marcus's house, because he's on the phone to Gianna as the killer's outside. "Go, pretty get you, Marcus." Like calling him out, and the child's music that we heard in the opening scene, sort of plays. They've got the tape recorder with them. They've got the murder mix on. And he's on the phone to her, and I think does she feel like guilty about that, and actually starts helping him investigate a little bit more?
I think so. Here it says feeling guilty for endangering him by taking his photo. Gianna begins helping Marcus investigate. Yeah, because the whisper from the other door is like, "I'll kill you sooner or later." Open the door. Go on, then. Come on.
You have to be careful doing that, though, because this is an actual murderer, not just someone on the internet.
That's true. You can't do that.
1975, when this came out, they actually would get you.
They would. They cleavered me to death.
Yeah.
So after Marcus talks to Giordani, who he met at Helga's funeral, about the encounter, Giordani mentions that Helga talks about the child's song that she heard during her vision. And apparently there's a book with modern folklore describing a local haunted house where a child's song is sometimes heard. So Marcus goes to the library to get.
I go and investigate that straight away.
Of course.
I love a good library trip in like any sort of investigating mystery movie or something like that. I love a good library trip. Like, it's one of my favorite scenes from Seven, I think, with Morgan Freeman sat in the library and those little green lamps on, and you're going through all the stuff trying to find out. It's great. I love it.
Catching up on his reading to make sure he's done adequate research. Is this the point where we get the? It feels like a big departure, just like an extra-additional murder. It feels like the film hasn't had a murder for a little bit. So
yeah, it takes a while between the first murder and the second murder, like a long while.
Yeah, like the investigation is in full swing. They're just investigating one standard murder.
Yeah.
Who's killed second?
It's the hot bath lady.
Yeah, the woman. That gets kind of scorched in the hot water. He puts her face down, and then she just lays there and tries to write something in the steam.
Yeah, she tries to write like on the mirror, like it was. I think they're trying to write up who the murderer is, but we don't get the full picture.
Yeah.
So why was the second woman killed? How was she linked to everything? Do we know?
You know what? I'm not entirely sure because it's the dreamlike quality we sometimes get with giallo movies.
I think I know who it is.
Go on.
It's the book's author.
Ah, the book's author. So that's why she feels unconnected, because as far as we're concerned, she's not going to get. She just wrote a book.
Imagine that. I wrote a book, and in it, I write about a child's song during something, and I'm getting killed for that. Harsh.
No one is safe. No one is safe.
You write one BuzzFeed article, and the next thing you know, scalded in a bath.
Oh, yeah. And it is pretty horrific, man. The old scolding. How hot can you get that bath? That's dangerous.
It's the 70s, Ben. No energy crisis then.
Yeah. Because first, I forgot what something happens to her before she's scalded in the water.
Yeah, she gets
she gets slammed against the wall or something, and then we see a bit of blood, and she kind of slumps down. Then
I thought she was already dead.
You can see her eyelid like move when she's lying there, and then he's heating up the water, tapping up the bath. So it's quite drawn out, but it's quite Dario Argento-esque.
Because running a bath,
the killer has to put the immersion on. Like, come on, 20 minutes, I'll be ready for a bath.
Yeah, but I really like that it's kind of dragged out and it's long, and I don't know, it makes the murders so much more special than if it's just quick and then it's done.
Yeah, how often do we get one of these films with like a murder mystery? Like, you know, your murder scene will effectively be someone opening a door going, "It's you," and then they gasp, and then it cuts, and then the next thing you know, we see them like just dead on the floor.
Yeah,
take your time to kill people. That's what I say.
Yeah, put the hot water on.
Really savor it. Really savor that murder. And because of this, Marcus goes to the house of the book's author.
Sometimes I read a book and go, must thank the author for this.
And luckily, they live very close by.
Of course.
So I think that happens before Marcus arrives, isn't it? So it's really weird. When he sees the body, it's like a really weird way of him looking at it. He doesn't seem that shocked at all. He's almost like, oh, right.
Yeah, he arrives kind of just in time for himself to sort of implicate himself in the murder. He's like, oh, well, better touch everything. Yeah. Better touch everything, not phone the police and leave immediately so we can speculate how the police will definitely find my fingerprints there and then want to talk to me because I'll be a suspect.
It's all right. The police officer is too busy having a sandwich, so he's not bothered, to be fair.
But another detective comes round and immediately thinks, right, let's put the hot water on, see if any patterns form in the steam. I love how the landlady comes in when the other person's like investigating. What have you got the hot water on for? My thoughts exactly.
And he's like, I'm solving a murder. He's like, with hot water? Yeah. It's like
this is how I do it. Jonathan
Every
Creek
time,
style.
every time.
An absolute genius. Okay, so from that, Marcus uses a photo that he found in the book, or a photo that was in the book, to find this like abandoned house. This is great, isn't it? Because it's almost like it's kind of happening like a video game, like in a point and click adventure game, where you find the next clue, then you find the next place to go, and then you
Show
go
someone
and you
the right
unearth all these
item.
things. Yeah, it's great. I love it, especially when he like has to dig underneath the plaster to find this like mural that's there.
Oh,
I just kept thinking.
Before we get to the digging under the plaster, though, we get a new. For me, this was a suspect for a little while. So he goes to the town, meets like a guy who's just running a market stall, and he says to him, "Oh, show us where this house is." And the little girl goes to show him. The dad calls the girl back, and he gives her like a slap. So, hang on, you're a bad dad. But it turns out she was. But then I think, and then she does like a little grin, like licks the blood off her lips, and then just skips on off to show the guy the house. And I think, okay, the dad's weird, but you're also weird. And then when we see back, see a poor little lizard with a pin in him.
Oh.
But
they're not linked to anything, though, are they?
No, we looked it up though. I can confirm, even though it looked really realistic, and I was like, oh no, do I have to be against this now because they pinned an actual poor little lizard? Apparently, although it looked very realistic, it was a fake pin, and the lizard was fine.
Oh, well, that's good. Because the author who was killed before, we forgot to say that like a bird sort of flies at her, doesn't it? And she ends up stabbing it with something.
She gets spooked by a bird before she gets bashed.
That was a scare, though. That scared me. The bird.
Yeah, birds are scary. You're unpredictable. Birds outside, Ben. Lovely. Look at the beautiful and peaceful scenario that comes in. As soon as a bird is in the confines of a house.
Yeah.
That's scary.
So yeah, he digs underneath the plaster, finds this mural, which is like a child holding a bloody knife over a dead body.
Orgy of evidence of child killer.
Yeah, exactly. But doesn't it like he walks away and then even more of it falls away, and there's another figure. It's like, oh, commit to.
Yeah, there's like a tiny piece that kind of just falls down.
Yeah.
Revealing even more.
So he hasn't got all of the information, Marcus. God damn it.
There's another draw. Yeah, there's a bigger figure.
Yeah. And while this is happening, Giordani obviously was with Helga at the start and has been helping Marcus. This is when he does
the steam clue, doesn't he? That's Giordani.
Yeah, is that right? The guy with Noel Edmonds looking guy?
Yeah, I think he's the one that does the steam clue, maybe.
Yeah, and he gets terrorized by the killer using a large mechanical doll who's like a cross between Slappy, what's the soul one called? Billy. Yeah, like a cross between those sort of.
Slappy and Billy, a little bit of Chucky in there because he is ginger, this little dolly.
I just love how the doll just walks in, like it's just so fast, and the arms are like kind of moving in a fun way, and it's
creepy.
It's kind of creepy. It is creepy. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
This murderous doll wasn't ready for though. Bonk on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's their weakness, famously. If you ever face some dolls in real life, listeners, bonk them on the head. That's how you deal with it.
Yeah, especially if they are made of porcelain or something.
Yeah. That's the first thing to do. I mean, it is. We'll mention his eyebrows again, because eyebrows are a running theme in this episode, it seems. While Marcus Daly, David Hemmings, went on to have crazy, bushy, ridiculous eyebrows, this guy's eyebrows, incredibly pencil thin, meticulously drawn on his face.
I mean, the shape of this is very similar to what David would go on to
exactly.
grow.
Maybe he was inspired by these eyebrows because they're the similarity is uncanny. This is like,
it's like looking in a mirror with a vision of the future.
We need to get a side by side of these two to see what
it was. But unfortunately, because that's what I love about these movies. Talk about the filmmaking for a bit here, because they can be so surreal and so out there. I didn't for a second think it's ridiculous there's a mechanical doll attacking this man. No. Like, I would have been quite willing to believe the killer could have set that up. It could probably compel a doll to murder you.
I love it.
I'm not against this as a like my disbelief is fully suspended, and then unfortunately for Giordani though is that he does bonk the doll on the head and remove that threat, but he forgets to look behind the curtains where the actual killer is, and he finds himself getting cornered, by which I don't mean being trapped in a corner with nowhere to run. I mean being physically bashed by several corners in the room.
Yeah,
lip
one
first.
corner after another, and also very drawn out. And I was like, damn, he's hitting every corner. And those two,
It's like, when you like baby proof a house or something and you get all the corners like protected so babies don't
Little
whack their
foam on them, yeah.
little soft heads on it. That's what he should have done, because he got smashed. It was lip first every time as well, and it was like, so I'm gonna smash this guy lips first into it.
Just turn your head to the side, Giordani.
It still hurt.
But wouldn't you rather be cheeks than cornered in the gob? Like he's literally going towards the fireplace, like, well, and then straight down to the coffee table, get in the corner of that as well. Corners, right in the chops every time.
If Giordani was a new dad and he had baby-proofed the house, he'd been fine. He would have laughed it off. He would have gone.
He could have waited there until the police came round for unconnected business. No one would even have to phone them. The killer's still there, bashing your head into the corners, and it's like, honestly, you're wasting your own time.
I'm gonna slam your head in this baby-proof drawer if I could just get it open. If I could just get it open, I'm gonna slam your head in it.
But unfortunately, he's not baby-proof the house, and he's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and then he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that bit. That would kill him. I forgot about that key.
The killer couldn't have done it until he'd already cornered all of his teeth out.
So after that, we go back to Marcus in the building, and he like finds again. He is definitely in a point and click adventure game because he finds like a walled off room.
He's collected. He's collected like the wall smashing axe, so he can go and like dig his way through like 3 walls of the house.
Yeah. And in
the next level.
Yeah.
And in the walled off room, he finds what's in there? Corpse.
Yeah. Old desiccated mummy in the Christmas room.
Yeah.
I mean, commitment to hiding a murder, right? It's like, oh God, there's been a murder in this room. I don't want to clean up. Shall I just brick it off?
I think they have used the cover of the corpse for some of the deep red covers, also DVDs.
Okay, so this is the body sat in the chair.
Yeah.
This, I hate to do it again, and I apologize to everybody listening and to my co-hosts, both of you. This is the exact same plot as an episode of Jonathan Creek where a man disappears from a room. And they're like, how did he get in or out? There was no way in or out. And he ends up, he's dead in the wall.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to, we're here to spoil and go through the plot of Deep Red, but I'm not going to spoil how that happens with Jonathan Creek. So, Sarah, if you end up watching this Jonathan Creek show, then you'll find out how they got away with that murder.
I just feel like I'm glad that
now. Yes, I definitely will.
I'm pretty sure that's like the second ever one. I think that's the second one. It's called. Hang on. The Wrestler's Tomb. The Wrestler's Tomb.
That is what it's called, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It is good. Like, I'm not just saying this. It is good. It's very 90s. It's very British, but it's great. I used to love I watched it like as a really young kid.
I've watched it not that long ago. I watched it all again in lockdown. It was on the iPlayer or something.
Did they do like a fairly new bunch of episodes as well?
Yeah, he's eventually married to, I forget the actor's name, but there's ones where he's older and he's a normal married man now, not living in a windmill. But the windmill ones are the best ones.
Good times. Good times. And of course, anybody listening, if you're a fan of Jonathan Creek, please tell us what your favorite episode is.
We'll do a bonus episode.
100%
on Jonathan Creek's.
So when Marcus is looking at this desiccated corpse, somebody smashes him in the crust and knocks him unconscious.
Yeah, he's been bonked on the head. And this is where I got a new suspicion.
Okay. My suspicion at this point was Gianna.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah, me as well. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Especially
you saved
because when
him, did you? Saved him, and now the house is conveniently on fire. All the evidence is gone, and you wear eyeliner.
And she was
and also
being a
the
bit weird.
way she delivers her lines are just very suspicious. I'm like,
100%.
why are
She seemed
speaking
very.
like that?
She was talking differently than how she was before. Yeah, I was like, "Poor Gianna, it's you. Because
she's quite cheerful most of the time, right?
She's a right laugh. But she says, "I got your message about investigating the house, and I arrived just in time to save you from the burning house. So I've saved your life. Now you owe me. Not only did I arm wrestle you, but I've also saved you. So you're my bitch now."
I mean, they've made up a little bit. They've had some time where they've got together. They've made up because they did that bit earlier where they drank a load of miniatures in the car.
Oh yeah.
Was that not in your version, Ben? Where
that is
maybe
true.
not. Maybe not. I can't remember.
Where she's like Sambuca,
she was like,
cognac.
oh, yeah, she was trying to persuade him to come to her place. Just like, we would be more comfortable at my place, you know. And he's like, no, I'm here in the car. Yeah.
He's just like, he is so blasé, so unaware of her advances. He's just like, I'd rather have in the car. What do you want to do it in the bedroom for? I'd rather have the drink in the car. It's much more comfortable.
He's like, what's his name from Married with Children? Stop trying to have sex with me, all right? I just want to. I just want to have drinks from your glove box. Thanks. Little mini bar that she's got set in a little Fiat that she drives around in.
Hell yeah.
No working doors, but literally any obscure spirit that you might get in a mini bar.
Don't lock the door. You got to get a mechanic to open it up. Gutted. Okay, so then after that is when they wait at the caretaker's house for police, and this is when Marcus notices that the caretaker's daughter, we've already mentioned before, has drawn a picture identical to the hidden mural in the house. But she tells him she saw the picture in the archives of the local school. New place to investigate unlocked.
Yeah. What a good school though. Literally keeping the drawings of children. Imagine that. All right, I've drawn a picture. Bless them, kids. They are the future of that, but sometimes their artwork is shit, right?
I don't keep drawings of my own daughter that she's done.
Oh, don't worry, Ben. The school's been keeping them. You go.
Put on the fridge. It's been on the fridge for a couple of weeks. Put it.
Don't worry. The school's kept a couple. You'll be able to go back to your daughter's like primary school. Be like, let's have a look in the 2008 file then. Ah, yes.
Very nice.
Spelling tests and pictures for days.
So they immediately go to the school. Marcus finds a drawing in a schoolboy's record. It's easy as that. That's all you need. You don't need any other information. You don't need the name of anyone. You'll find it. And then when Gianna goes to call the police, somebody unseen stabs her.
I still thought it was going to be her because she wandered off, and then when Marcus is going, yeah, I found the clue here. Come on up, Gianna. I found the clue. And then there's like a shadow looming over him that doesn't look too dissimilar to her. It could be her. And then it sort of looms away. And then I thought it was going to be her trapping him, but didn't I feel guilty that I'd had such a low opinion of her because she's got a knife stuck in her tongue.
Does she die as well?
Nah, she gets better.
Oh, she gets better. That's right. I was worried about it then. And so basically, when Marcus manages to corner the attacker, it's revealed that the attacker is, or at least what we think at this point, Carlo, his friend from earlier, drunk man, lovely curly hair, looks a bit like Leo Sayer,
but wielding a mean pistol.
Wielding a mean pistol, who as a child drew those disturbing pictures. This is all true at this point. This is all correct. He drew those disturbing pictures. The police arrived. One of the police throws a sandwich at him. Doesn't work, so they start shooting at him.
Yeah.
And then Carlo.
I can imagine it. That's definitely isn't what happened. But now I can imagine, because the police basically burst in through a window, don't they? Almost.
Yeah.
I can almost imagine him like with a sandwich hanging out of his mouth. It definitely doesn't happen, but in my mind, that is what it is.
Now, I can only say that what happens to Carlo is both humiliating, hilarious, and in a way, like, who's to blame for this?
Oh, my notes on this part, Ben, are just bin men ex machina.
they're having a lovely chat in the front seat. So what happened? So he jumps
Not
over
only
a
they having a lovely
fence.
chat, but there just happens to be a hook at the back of the bin lorry
Yeah.
that could hook someone.
And he just happens to spin into the streets
It's so
exactly that
ridiculous.
time.
Because
And then,
imagine if this man hadn't just been embroiled in a murder conspiracy or whatever. If this just happened to anyone on the street, like horrifically dragged by a garbage van to their death,
It wouldn't have happened. So many things. Because if he hadn't been sort of hesitating and looking back to if the police were following him, he wouldn't have just stepped in the way in front of the bin men. So he gets spun around, like Sarah says, gets hooked, gets dragged along like Biff Tannen, but instead
gets his head smashed into various curbs until he's unconscious.
Yeah.
And all the while, the bin men are having a lovely chat. What are they talking about? Last night's Jonathan Creek.
Yeah, last night's Jonathan Creek.
Probably.
How did he do it?
It's horrific. I was like, even though at this point I was thinking he's the killer, I was still at this point thinking, this is horrible. Poor guy.
Being dragged along like some mothers do have him.
And then the car comes and just crashes his head.
Yeah. Oh man.
Because he could have been all right after that if he'd just
Did they realize that the bin men realize at the moment, like, what's going on here? Someone's going on. Someone's on the back.
Yeah, because they were realizing it towards the end, if I remember correctly. Like something like
either that or they just go, oh, you've missed a bin there. Oh, stop.
You missed a bin there. Oh no. There's a man with his head smushed.
We've bashed this man off several curbs, but then someone else just coming round, going too fast in a residential, certainly on bin day, runs over his head and squashes it. They love a head squash in this era of movie.
Yeah, Giallo loves the head squash. And that could have easily been it, but no, there's still more. There's still more to unravel.
Just in the last 5 minutes of the film. So literally we wrap up the Gianna story where Marcus has a quick chat with the doctor. She's not in the film again, doesn't visit her in the hospital. There's a little conversation where it's like, is Gianna all right? And the surgeon goes, yeah, she's poorly. And actually, it was really, I love it how the surgeon goes, your surgery was really difficult, actually. But yeah, it's fine. She'll be fine tomorrow.
Halfway through the surgery, she woke up and challenged me to an arm wrestling match.
Who's doing this surgery? Whoever wins.
Which, of course, she beat me.
He wasn't ready, though. I don't know if you know that. But
no.
Yeah, so she's going to be fine. And then Marcus just has time, not willing to just dust his hands off. He has a little thought to himself. Hang on a minute. Old matey there, Carlo, he saw the first murder with me. He was right there.
Yeah.
So how could he have been the murderer?
So while he's thinking about this, he goes back to Helga's apartment. You can get in there. It's fine. What's that?
Oh, there's only masking tape keeping it closed. Just some masking tape over the door that says, don't open this. Police work.
And it all comes down to that painting that was missing. And he realizes that what he saw wasn't actually a painting at all. What was it?
It was a mirror all along.
I'm always.
Oh, when I saw that first time, I was like, oh. And when I saw the face, and
yeah, it is good. I'm always mistaking mirrors and paintings. I'm always walking past my mirror, going, "What a lovely work of art." It's just me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he has this epiphany, and essentially, as soon as it happens, he realizes who he saw, and it was. Who was it?
It was Carlo's mom.
Carlo's mom was Maria.
Carlo's mom, movie star Martha.
Why did you say that name? Like
Martha.
Years later, the most important name in cinema.
She immediately appears behind him with a meat cleaver. And then
it's a good job she was there to listen to that epiphany.
Yeah, exactly. She just wanted to make sure that he had the right epiphany at the right time. And then we get a flashback to the first murder and essentially what happened. Martha was having a bad time of it. She was potentially mentally unwell. She'd been to an asylum, and her husband, not her dad, is saying, "I'm going to recommit you to that insane asylum." She's like, "I won't go back. I won't." And then we see a young Carlo in his lovely little socks
having Christmas, and the dad comes in. It's like, all right, he does the like generic like, is that just holds his hands out to the little boy like, hey,
it's all gonna be all right.
As long as nothing happens behind me at this second, we're gonna have such a lovely Christmas.
Merry Christmas, son. I know we've had a bad time lately, but I think things are finally looking up. Ah!
Yes. And then It's a Wonderful Life happens. Yes.
Exactly. Oh, maybe this is the plot of It's a Wonderful Life. So she stabs him in the back in front of young Carlo. Carlo picks up the knife and has a look at the lovely bright red blood. Which
I'll tell you what, I've got an idea for a drawing at school tomorrow.
I've got a cracking idea for a drawing at school. This is why I'm
get back to school in January. So draw us a picture of your Christmas holidays.
This is lovely. Is this when your your mum was cutting the turkey? That's cranberry sauce on there. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Ben, you've just triggered another bloody Mrs. Radford memory. She was covering us in year 4, Ben, and she got us to draw some like pictures related to our Christmas. We drew a little picture and wrote some sentences about what we'd done. I got a little toy robot, so I wrote about it, and she corrected my writing of robot to that I got a toy rabbit. But having the confidence of only a 6-year-old at the time, not wishing to, argue with an adult, I just corrected my drawing instead and drew some ears on the. Mrs. Radford had caused me more trauma in my life.
That's horrific.
I think she's probably up there as one of my biggest enemies. She's not a fictional character, Sarah. This is a teacher in real life that has tormented me as a child. I can only take solace in the fact that she was probably in her 60s in the late 80s. So I think time has probably dealt with that enemy for me at this point. But
she's worm food. Sorry.
No, rest in peace. We just disagreed. She didn't do me any serious harm. God bless teachers. But yeah, still triggered, unfortunately, by that memory. So I've had as much trauma as Carlos at this point.
Yeah, but you've dealt with it in a better way, I would say. But yeah, Martha goes for Marcus, hits him with the cleaver, but then she gets her old dangly necklace caught up in the bars of the elevator.
At the lift. Unfortunately, she has made a mistake in her murdering outfit, so really good for hiding your identity. She had the hat, the coat, the gloves. We couldn't tell who she was this whole time, but she has accidentally worn an very dangly and absolutely indestructible necklace.
It's the heart of the ocean from Titanic that she's got dangling. Also, if you're
like an adamantium chain.
If you're a killer, I think you've got time to have a hat and a coat and stuff. Don't accessorize. I feel like that's taking it one step too far.
Yeah, don't overdo it. Just keep it simple.
Sometimes less is more. Your killer's outfit can be a bit too busy, I find.
Yeah. But essentially what happens is Marcus sends the elevator down and it decapitates her. I don't know what Marcus was expecting to happen because he seems absolutely horrified when her head comes off.
What have I done?
And that's it, isn't it? Well, that was it in my version. Is there anything else in the director's cut?
Yeah, it's another half an hour, Benny. I couldn't tell you. We seem to have the same plot points. I think we might have just had more musical numbers in our extended version.
Yeah, it was probably bulked out more with that running in the bath scene. I reckon was at least an extra 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, the bath runs for ages.
There we go. Then that's Deep Red. Andy, have you got any name game?
I've got some name game for you, Ben. And
You've
Sarah,
got some name game.
You're gonna explain
I'm gonna let you take the lead on name game because I'm not very happy with mine. Have you got a few?
Yes, I've got 4 for you today.
Wow. Okay. So basically, Sarah, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a synopsis to a movie that sounds a bit like Deep Red. It'll just rhyme with Deep Red. And based on the synopsis, you have to give us the title of the film. After one example, it will become very clear.
Are you ready then? So what's the synopsis of Deep Red, Ben?
A jazz pianist and a wisecracking journalist. Is she wisecracking? Are pulled into a complex web of mystery after the former witnesses the brutal murder of a psychic.
So a jazz journalist, a jazz musician, or a wisecracking journalist turned their hands to cinema, but as award season approaches, they start to get a terrible fear that their film is going to be up against a really well-known and respected actress who's won loads of these Oscars.
Oh.
So what are they suffering from?
Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Streep.
But are they all horror movies?
They're made up movies. They just rhyme. The title just rhymes with with Deep Red. So it is Streep, Ben, but they're really worried about going up against her.
Oh, okay.
Streep. They're worried.
They're terrified of it. Oh God, I can't believe. Oh, I'm so scared. We're not going to win this Oscar because we're up against Streep. What have they got?
Streep. I don't know.
They've got Streep Dread, is what they've got.
Oh, Dread! Oh,
Streep Dread. That's the film
Streep
there.
Dread.
Oh, okay.
That was. I'm usually a bit better. I couldn't even think of the word. Couldn't even fathom the word dread in my head. Then Jesus.
Okay, so here's your second one for you.
Okay.
So a jazz pianist and a quirky and wisecracking journalist, they do some investigative work in the town of Springfield, where it turns out the Simpsons' neighbor is not as nice as he once seems.
So it's Ned.
Yeah.
Is he a creep? Creep Ned?
Creep Ned, correct.
That was fast. Wow.
Do you know why? Do you know why I got that so quickly?
Go on.
Because I wrote that down.
Did you write Creep Ned as well?
I wrote Creep Ned down.
Creep Ned. Right, you got that one. I got two more for you. Here's the next one. On a live on a recorded daytime television program, Stephen Mulhern, or other daytime television presenter.
This is going to be too British as well, isn't it?
It doesn't matter who it is. So a daytime television presenter is slagging someone off who he thinks is a right idiot, but obviously because of it being on the daytime, the thing he says is partially censored.
Jesus. What does a daytime TV have to do with it? Is that not relevant?
It's important that it's on at daytime because it has to be censored. They can't just broadcast it in its full form.
Is it something with a beep? Or
it is beep.
Beep.
Beep said?
No, don't say. He's saying, "Oh, this guy, what an absolute
beep head."
Beep head, correct.
He called him an absolute beep head. Can you tell us what the word would have actually been?
Shit.
Shithead.
Shithead, right. And the last one, wanting a less serious line of work, the mythological personification of death stops collecting the souls of humans and just harvests grains to make wholesome foods.
Is it reap?
Yeah.
Bread.
Reap bread, correct.
Nice one. Nice.
That is all I have for this week.
This version was difficult because I feel like we've had the words deep and red in loads of titles over the years.
Deep red has been up many times, but quite pleased with what we came up with in the end. And
what you came up with.
It wasn't entirely done on British television.
Okay. Right. So we've got to rate the movie A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed as well. Rate good or rate bad. How would you rate the movie, Sarah? How would you rate Deep Red?
I will rate it a grade A, just because of the perfect ending and the twist. I just love the mirror thing so much, and I remember just watching it the first time. It just blew me away. It was like, wow, what? That was a mirror. So
it's a really cool little detail, isn't it?
And the music and the murders, and it's an amazing giallo.
Hell yes. Andy, how do you rate this one?
I also enjoyed this, and I have to pay out any film that I tried to guess the murder, and I didn't. I didn't even think that it might have been her again. I blamed the little girl who might be a horrible lizard torturer. I blamed Gianna. I blamed Claudia Winkleman. I blamed Veruca Salt. I blamed all these characters. Several of them weren't even in the film. Never did I see it coming that it was that. So I have to pay that one out. The music is so phenomenal. The music in these giallo movies, Dario Argento movies particularly, goes so hard. I love it. And put like a good bit of work into like really drawing out those kills as well. I did, on reflection, I know my first reaction when I saw it was, oof, north of 2 hours, that's a bit long. So maybe I'll like the slightly punchier pace of the cut version as well. I've got no time to experience that before finishing that sentence, but I'm still going to take it into account that the things I might have a slight issue with are imminently solvable, and the version that I can watch on Shudder right now has that on there. So gonna land a nice B on that, all things considered, for a first watching. And I think now knowing it, this is one of those films that I'm really motivated to go back and watch again to see how, even now knowing the ending, I think I would really like to watch it again to see how it meters out those clues for me and what I'll see if I watch it from the start.
Yeah, when I rewatched it now, I noticed that he keeps mentioning the painting so many times. Like, I didn't think about it the first time I saw it, but now he mentions, oh, there was something about the painting, like a lot. Yeah, so
the first time, stop going on about it. It's not a clue.
Almost like he wants the audience to remember so that when that reveal happens, it makes sense. Whereas with us, I feel like I treated it in the same way as like the police treated it, where I kind of just glossed over it, didn't really think it was a big deal.
Took another bite of your sandwich and moved on, didn't you?
I sure did. I'm going to go for a B minus. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite giallo movies. I enjoyed it. I think perhaps, coming back to it after a while, probably would enjoy it more. But I think, great reveal, great soundtrack, some really good visuals as well. A solid entry in the sort of giallo filmography, I would say. Yeah, there we go then. That is Deep Red. Thanks so much for joining us, Sarah. It's been a blast. Where
can I?
No problem at all. Where can our listeners keep up to speed with everything that you're putting out, from your films, from the Sarah of Horror Festival?
Yeah, how can we get into this festival to get and watch what's going on?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram called Sarah of Horror, and also an Instagram for my online film festival called Sarah of Horror Festival. So if you type in Sarah of Horror on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, then everything will pop up, probably.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then you can also type in Bunnyman Slaughter on Facebook, and you will find the page and updates. And my production company on Instagram is Bloody Fierce Productions. So there are also updates on my work there.
We will put all of those links in the show notes as well. Thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to all our patrons. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review, and head over to the Facebook group Horror Hangout Board of Advisors for more. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Discord now. And next week it will be our Halloween special, and we are covering Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which
8 more days to Halloween, everybody, or by the time you hear that, less.
The 41st anniversary of that film was yesterday, the 22nd of October, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to covering it.
This again. I think the more I think about it, maybe my favorite in the series. It's so ridiculous. I can't wait.
Amazing. But thanks again, Sarah. And happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween, Sarah.
Happy Halloween.
Then for everyone else, watch out for the bin lorries, for goodness sake. Come on.
Watch
Cross
out! There's not
carefully.
a giant hook on the back of any truck that goes past you, because you'll get dragged, smash your head on the curb, and then your head will be run over as well. So please take care. Look left and
I'm
right.
going to be watching the news, everybody from around the world. I'm going to be so disappointed if I hear a single one of you has died that way in the next 7 days or beyond.
100%.
Even. Just be real careful out there, okay?
And
on
also,
bin day. Find out when bin day is. Stay in.
Alan Davis, if you're listening, you probably owe us something for mentioning Jonathan Creek so many times on this show. An unprecedented amount. Okay.
I tell you what, Alan. You know what you can owe us. We'll call it quits. Just do one more. Bring us another
Just one
mystery.
more.
Bring it back. One more,
Yeah.
Jonathan Creek. I know you're Alan Davis, actor and comedian in your own right, and QI has done a lot for you as well. But one more Jonathan Creek wouldn't hurt. Come on.
Just one more. Right. See you later, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.